Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Madrid Hub again. I'm your host, Dr. JOTA, and over the next 10 to 20 minutes, I will be talking about Real Madrid and very interesting topics that we have for today. Starting off with one very juicy, considering all the drama we're going through right now in Spain with the social media, newspapers, journalists, and stuff like that. As you know, we have had a massive beef with one YouTuber against El Chiringuito, Giuseppe Pedrerol, and some of the collaborators that normally show up in the TV show in El Chiringuito every single night. And it all started 1 week ago with the statement from Pedro Bravo, arguably a racist statement, right, that motivated the video from Vinicius Jr. and a world-class movement in favor of Vinicius Jr., pushing him to dance every single time he scores, things like that. As you know, you know what I'm talking about, right? Well, right after that, in Spain, not in the whole world, but in Spain, we've been going through a lot of more stuff and very dark stuff regarding to how the journalism is done in Spain in a very dark way, in a very mafia way even. So Giuseppe Pedrerol finally has filed a lawsuit against another YouTuber who claimed El Chiringuito threatened to Vinicius Jr. if he released the video against the racism, because they didn't want to appear in front of the world like a racist program, a racist TV show or something like that, right? So apparently Iñaki Angulo has that information. Somebody from the crew, from Giuseppe Pedrerol's crew, did something, texted to Vinicius Jr., right, and said something like that, something like, okay, if you release the video, if you record this video, if you post this video, we are going to blast you, we are going to criticize you, we are going to smash you in the next TV show, whatever it is, right? We don't exactly know what the words were, right? But it was that way. He was walking that way. I don't know exactly what happened, but something really weird, right? So 2 days later, Iñaki Angulo released a video saying or claiming El Chiringuito was threatening to Vinicius Jr. with all this stuff, right? Well, days later, right, another famous journalist, Ciro Lopez, who used to work with Giuseppe Pedrerol, is claiming in one conversation back in the day, I don't remember, I can't recall what day it should be, I don't know, maybe 2012 or something like that, when they were working together. Okay, Ciro Lopez claims Giuseppe Pedrerol threatened to Florentino Perez because Florentino Perez was giving and delivering more information to Antonio Garcia Ferreras, who is another very famous journalist in Spain, more than him, right? So Giuseppe Pedrerol was able to threaten Florentino Perez, which is nuts. Nobody threatens Real Madrid president, right? Nobody should be able to threaten the president of Real Madrid and one of the biggest entrepreneurs in Spain. A person like Florentino Perez, who runs a company who makes about 100 millions per day, right? He's the owner of ACS, right? So it's one of the most famous, biggest companies all around the world about construction, all the stuff. So the last thing you can imagine is Giuseppe Pedrerol threatening to Florentino Perez, right? Well, apparently that happened. So now y'all understand, especially for all those of you who live overseas, now y'all understand what's going on here in Spain with media, newspapers, social media, journalists, stuff like that. Is so corrupted, is so toxic that sometimes it is very difficult to distinguish the good information, the bad information, the true, the fake, the false, all that stuff, right? It's super difficult and complicated, but I don't want to spend and waste my time talking about drama, especially for those of y'all who really live overseas and really don't care about this shit. Let me continue, let me talk about more Real Madrid stuff, more kind stuff, of course, because this is super dark, super dark. Okay, let's talk about Vinicius Jr. And the reason for that is because Vinicius Jr. has become the most valuable player in La Liga and the third most valuable player in terms of transfer market price after Kylian Mbappé and Erling Haaland. Let me tell you something. To me, he should have been in the top of the ranking, considering the player has scored more goals than Kylian Mbappé and has been decisive more times, way more times than Kylian Mbappé in the last weeks, right? But apparently transfer market did the assessment or evaluation or whatever you want to call it months ago, right? So this is not from now, this is from months ago. So but the good news is Vinicius Jr. is worth 120 million euros for every single team wants to buy the player, which is impossible because the player will be a Madridista and a Real Madrid player for so many years. I'm pretty sure of that. In the same ranking, let me tell you something. Fede Valverde, who is revaluing even more after the beginning of the season, who is increasing his value in the beginning of this year, is only the sixth one, right, in the world. Is the fourth in La Liga, the sixth one in the world, which is completely unfair considering the player, to me, is right now one of the best players in the world, or one player who is in a great shape, and he should be way higher in that list, right? He should rank, way higher. It is, Bruno Fernandes ahead of him? Oh, come on. Pedri ahead of him? Come on. Phil Foden ahead of Fede Valverde? Come on. What are you talking to me, man? That doesn't make any sense. This guy has scored over the last 3 games, has been the most valuable player, the most important players in the last games of Real Madrid, and is a midfielder who not only scores but assists, and also he helps out in the defense, in the midfield, and in the attack. So he's a player who can do pretty much everything, right? So to me, it's completely unfair. Fede Valverde is only ranking in the 6th place in this list of transfer market. It's very reliable though. Every time transfer market make this ranking, my opinion is very positive, very good, very fair, because of course Vinicius Jr. is, if not the most valuable player of the world, is probably, he's located in the top 3 or something like that. That makes sense, okay? And the most valuable player of La Liga. But Fede Valverde, man, Pedri and Bruno Fernandes and Phil Foden ahead of Fede Valverde, come on. It doesn't make any sense. Actually, Fede Valverde to me should be in the 4th place in the world, okay? Not in the 6th place, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to create any kind of controversy here, but to me, Fede Valverde should rank in a higher position in the table, but it's okay. So let's keep talking about stuff, because last night, as you can see here, I cannot play this video just in case, but this is a pass, okay, with the outside of the foot of Vinicius Jr. to Neymar. I think it was Neymar. I don't know, I'm not quite sure about that, but he was about to score. But what a magnificent, man, what a magnificent assist from Vinicius Jr. It was just incredible. Okay, but the point is not this. Right after the game, Neymar came out to the microphones of the television, radio, and all the stuff, and he was asked about the relationship with Kylian Mbappé. And this is something that has been retweeted by Fabrizio Romano. As you can see, guys, here, there's a journalist from Ghana, it's a Ghana journalist, asking him about the relationship that he holds already with Kylian Mbappé, right? And the way he responds, it's like trying to get away with it, trying to escape from the place, and trying not to respond to that question. And he's like, man, and then he goes away, and that's it. He doesn't say anything. Why? Because he really doesn't want to say anything, as the relationship with Kylian Mbappé is not easy at all. You can play the video if you go to the Fabrizio Romano's account and you play it, and you will see the whole thing, the whole footage, the whole clip, which is more revealing than mine. I cannot play it just for a copyright thing, but man, every time he's asked about Kylian Mbappé, it is pretty clear to me the relationship between Neymar, Mbappé, but also Leo Messi and the club, and what is happening right now with Al Khelaifi and Luis Campos, and the situation Luis Campos is going through right now, whether staying in PSG and working for PSG exclusively, or on the other hand going and work for Chelsea as well. To me, all these kind of things, this kind of environment, this kind of atmosphere within PSG is not good enough. And of course, when we saw the Kylian Mbappé talking about, when the journalists asked about Kylian Mbappé about the transfer market from PSG, all the signings that they've done in the summit and all the stuff, and he showed everybody that he wasn't very happy at all. My opinion is, man, something is going on, and it's not only that. If you think about it, Kylian Mbappé has been talking to the American press regarding to Real Madrid, flirting with Real Madrid, but the response of Real Madrid right now is pretty clear. No more. It is over, so don't try to flirt with us because Real Madrid is done with you. Okay? So my opinion is probably the guy, like Florentino Perez said months ago, he's probably regretting already, and it's true. I don't think he's very happy in PSG because they are not doing what they were supposed to do in order for him to renew his contract. So he might be very pissed, he might be very upset, he might be not happy at all with PSG. So yeah, it is very likely for me to think that Kylian Mbappé might try to leave next year PSG, but I'm not quite sure about that. And of course, what I can tell is Real Madrid is not interested at all in signing Kylian Mbappé or starting off another drama like the one that has happened over the last 8 years, right? So I don't know what he's gonna do, but apparently the teammates don't really love him, right? Within the club, I don't think he has the support that he was supposed to have, right? And it's not a good situation for him. So let's see what happens. But to me, he has a very, very complicated situation in PSG. Okay, so now let's move on and let's talk about what is the link, what is the thing that attaches to Vinicius Jr. and Endrick in order for us to sign the young racing star Brazilian player, young player Endrick. Let me tell you something. Vinicius Jr. and Endrick had the same representation agency, which means that if Vinicius Jr. wants him to come and play for Real Madrid, he might have a little bit of influence in order for Real Madrid to be the first ones in trying to sign the player, or the other way, the player signing for Real Madrid. Because as you know, Vinicius Jr. sent a jersey to the guy and he showed the jersey in a TikTok video that went viral, and of course that's why we are all thinking Endrick might play for Real Madrid, right, in the future. So yeah, it is a good thing, but let me tell you something else. When I talked to Jose Felix Diaz, this is not really true, or this doesn't work that way. It's not that simple. You have to keep in mind, Jose Felix Diaz said it is a very, very risky move for Real Madrid, considering Endrick is a very young player still, right? He's 16. He's just signed a contract with Palmeiras, right? So he still have to wait like 2 years to come to Madrid, to come to Europe and be able to play for any single team in Europe, right? So it's a very risky move, considering in 2 years every single thing can happen. That is what Jose Felix Diaz told me. So I'm not quite sure if Real Madrid will go all in for Endrick and trying to sign to the Brazilian player. To me, he's a great player, of course, like for everybody else, but you have to be careful with the players you sign, especially when they are young players, because they might have a very good season or maybe 2 good seasons, but not have the level enough to play in Real Madrid. It is a very different story. When we all see a player, out, outstanding everybody else and outworking everybody else and all this stuff. We have to keep in mind they are not playing in Europe and they are not playing in Real Madrid, which is a very completely different story, right? So if they're not doing that, we have to be very extremely careful, because what happens is when you bring over a player like him, right, and he's super excited about it and he's super young and all this stuff, he has a lot of dreams, right? But the problem is he's been facing off, he's been fighting against, he's been playing against players, other rivals who are not in the same level than the level that we have in Europe or some leagues or something like that in Europe, right? I mean, when you play for Real Madrid, you have to keep in mind a bunch of things that are not about the individual skill set, right? You have to play for the team, and you have to learn how to play for the team, and you have to find your spot in the team, and you have to figure out the necessities your new team, in this case Real Madrid, has, right? It is not that simple like, okay, I'm gonna get the ball and I'm gonna do a bunch of magical stuff, I'm gonna do a bunch of tricks, I'm gonna do a bunch of, super amazing skills. No, it's not that simple. That's why a lot of Brazilian players fail, just because they are not able to adapt to the European soccer, which is completely different to South American soccer or whatever. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful here, but the soccer, the style is completely different, right? And it's even more when you play for Real Madrid, for a team like Real Madrid, where you have to fit in, right? It is not the club is going to adapt to your skill sets. It is you, the one who has to adapt to Real Madrid. So let's see what happens. We will have to wait a little bit. I think it's a little bit early to talk about Endrick and all this stuff, but here is the good news for Los Madridistas, because Vinicius Jr. and Endrick have that kind of link or attachment, okay? So let me see if we have more stuff here. Oh yeah, the last one that I have for y'all is about Eden Hazard. Why? Because according to according to OK Diario, Hazard will be looking forward to leaving Real Madrid as of next January 2023, just because he's not playing at all and he doesn't count for Carlo Ancelotti. I mean, as you can imagine, and we don't have to be very smart at this point. I mean, if the player feels Carlo Ancelotti prefers other players ahead of him, and I cannot blame to Carlo Ancelotti for this, and probably Hazard either, just because he sees every single day in the practice Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo Goes, Fede Valverde are way ahead of him, right? So if he understands he won't have any chance, my opinion is yes, he might leave Real Madrid next winter, in the next winter market, just because it's the only chance he has to keep playing and keep enjoying soccer, okay? So it is very likely to happen. Hazard move out of Real Madrid as of next January. We will have to wait though a little bit, but yeah, my opinion is he won't have any chance. I spoke to Jose Felix Diaz about that, and he told me the same. I mean, for him, he won't have so many chances to play in Real Madrid unless we have a super easy game, we are winning or we are up in the score for 3-4 goals or something like that. He won't have any chance, okay? Because Carlo Ancelotti rather prefers to trust a little bit more in other players than Eden Hazard. So let's see what happens. So yeah, that's it here. That's it. Until here, that's it. What I have for you all, guys. Now, I hope you subscribe to the channel and of course keep watching the videos. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.